This is my 1959 John Deere 440 ICD. It's no longer an ICD because now it is the John Deere 440, or I call it the Studadeere because it's powered by a 1945 Studabaker 6-170 6-cylinder flathead. Rebuilt the hydraulic cylinders, just the lift rams. Has a 6-way controller off of, I believe, like a later model John Deere 450 or 550, because they never came like that for sure. Got all new gauges, digital tack, backup camera, and LEDs. Just repainted it. It's got brand new tracks and chains on it. I just rebuilt this right hand side track tensioner. This is the 6-cylinder Studabaker. As you can see here, it was remanufactured in about 1955. I had the cylinder head off it, and it's like brand new in the cylinder bores. Still got the cross hatching. Rated at 70 horsepower and about 120 foot-pounds of torque. The diesel that this thing came with was a basket case, and it probably would have took $2 or $3 grand worth of parts to get it running and working. So I measured how much space I had and said, hey, I got a spare Studabaker engine and transmission. I'll just dump that engine and transmission in there, and I'll just make where the reverser was totally garbage on this thing. It was nothing but an empty housing. So I splined, and there's actually a cross bolt in there too for the drive shaft, to the input shaft to the John Deere transmission. So this is a 3-speed transmission. So this one here is forward and reverse, first and reverse. This one here is second and third, but currently it's set up so I can only get into second. I can't get into third, but there's no reason to go that fast. The new Studadeere combo has a whopping 2.4 hours on it. She's nice and quiet, unlike the Detroit 253 that came out of it. There are quite a few hood mods up here to go from Studabaker from Detroit. The gas cap filler is still the same. I just had to shorten the filler neck by about an inch so it would close because the tank sits a little bit higher. The door that was over here for the hydraulic tank has moved over here and is now the dipstick fill, the dipstick checker hole. This is now the hydraulic tank hole. It's up here in the front. The radiator just simply sticks out of the top just enough so you can get at the cap. It has got a pressure gauge on there so I can see my hydraulics real time. It did not come with the factory hydraulic pump, so I got this off surpluscenter.com, and that pump moves 27 gallons per minute, max rated at 3,000 psi. It just has a Lovejoy coupler on the front of it, and then it's bolted right directly to the nose pan, so no issues there. Fire this little beast up. Has a 3000 CFM Spall electric fan on it for cooling. It's 38 degrees out. She's kind of cold. Great oil pressure, especially for being a 75-year-old motor. It has this small block Chevy Delco alternator on it, single wire, 65 amp. And that is the masterpiece of my creation, the Studadeere. That's what happens when you don't want to take and spend a couple grand getting the OEM stuff running, and you got an engine laying around and a plasma cutter and a chop saw and a welder. You can fabricate anything.